that. We are ready. So welcome everyone to our webinar, the e-commerce webinar we do every 2 weeks, where we invite super specialists. So today I'm super happy to have Florian, who's coming from Germany, and he's an advertising and specifically a PPC expert on Amazon, and he will tell us everything about it today. So as you know, and as you prepared many hours for that, so we always start with a fun fact about yourself. So go for it.
Oh, okay. First of all, Jerome, thank you very much for the invitation. And I will start with a fun fact about me. And actually, you got me there. I didn't prepare one, but I can come up with one. And before I started working with data and I'm a data scientist. And before I dive into this topic, actually, I worked in the food retail quite some time.
What did you do?
Actually, I was a supervisor for some places, right? And actually, I worked there, and yeah, that's what. But I realized that was not what I want to do, so I went back to the university, studied more, and found my passion for marketing and data science. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I have Fritz saying that he can't hear us. Can others hear us? I can hear myself, and I can hear Florian. Can the others?
Okay.
So the others can hear us. So Fritz, maybe I'll make a message to Fritz. Okay, great. Thanks very much. So apologies, this is live. So can you give us a bit about now the more serious yourself and Adference, maybe?
Yes, I can do that. Actually, I'm a co-founder and co-CEO of Adference, and we founded this company 7 years ago. Before that, we did some research on the university. Before that, I was in the food retail, and so 7 years ago, we started this company and developed the tool for automation of Google Ads. And 3 to 4 years ago, we started developing a second tool for automation and optimization of Amazon PPC. And that's what we do. We try to help advertisers, sellers, and vendors to scale their business on Amazon with PPC, and to do this on a profitable way. And so we deal a lot with customers and see a lot of accounts and strategies and help our customers to execute them. So this is why I'm so passionate about Amazon PPC and would love to chat with you about this.
Great. So, and everyone actually, Florian has got a great LinkedIn page, and he's always posting stuff. So sometimes it's in German, so you can practice your German, but it's also sometimes in English, and it's very great because a lot of things are happening. So to keep track of what's going on, you need to follow key people, and Florian is one of them. So let's say, so Florian, you're based out of Germany, and maybe we can start with that, because it's sometimes a question about, we were joking about content, and content, you can say that, okay, the way you display content in the different parts of Europe are a bit different. Is there a way like to do advertising which is specific to Germany, or not really? Is that a stupid question?
I would love to say there's a specific key to success for the German market, but actually I haven't found it. What I can reassure everybody is that it is becoming more and more professional, because it's the second biggest marketplace, Amazon marketplace. So there are less and less rookies there. So it's becoming more and more professional, and so. Yeah, the early adopter phases days are gone. So actually, this is what I can tell you. If you want to succeed there, you have to do it on a very professional way, like starting with good content, of course, and then execute it good on advertising as well.
So it's probably, if I understand well, is also there's more and more tools inside the like advertising platform on the search side. It's probably a push of making sure you're using all of the tools, and that you try to overtake the others by using more tools, right? Because you're saying a lot of people already in Germany are already focusing there. So it's probably the competition is higher than other markets such as France or Spain or Italy, right?
Yes, there we have a lot of good, awesome technologies and tools here in Germany, actually. I think, yeah, there are a lot of, and compared to other European markets, I think we have the most, right, here in Europe. And probably this is the result of why it's becoming more and more competitive, and people want to automate and scale their processes. So it's on the one hand, to just scale the manual work, because it's it doesn't make sense to do this all manually, and the other hand is, of course, it's to optimize this in a more scientific and intelligent way than just guessworking.
So on this specific point about automation and like AI and all those, there are lots of tools, and we're using some, and there are lots of great tools, to be fair, and people have to find them in the market. But the question is like, what's your approach when it goes to AI or rule-based advertising? Do you think, I get a feeling that in the future it will be more and more automated. Do you get that feeling, like automated bidding? How do you feel?
First of all, I must say that I'm biased here, because we are providing a tool that is more or less fully automated and data-driven and AI-driven, if you want to say AI. Actually, it's a marketing buzzword most of the times. So that's why we don't use it. We say machine learning because that's what this actually is. And, we're scientists in the early days. So this is why we're very clean about our definition of what we do. And but if you look back in the history of scaling, optimizing advertising, you see that in Google Ads early days, people were fine with just automating their work as an account manager. Like, okay, the performance is not good. Let's reduce the bids by 5% and check again in a week. And this was fine for Google early days and for Amazon PPC early days. But with more and more complexity and more long tail keywords that you add into your account, this is not sufficient anymore. So you need more intelligent ways to handle this, and to not react, but be proactive on your bids and how you set up your campaigns. And this is why I'm 100% sure that that the AI data-driven approach is in the long term the one that takes more and more is more and more important. But that doesn't mean that you have to shouldn't intervene or challenge the system, right? You are the one that sets the boundaries. You are the one that thinks about the strategies that you want to execute. And so it's, I think, always a good, the best setup is a combination of both. That doesn't mean a rule-based approach and an AI approach, but you, the account manager, the one that executes the strategy, needs to know how to set up the AI or the tool that they are using. I think this is very important. So the basic groundwork of understanding how PPC works and how to set up your campaigns and how to execute a strategy, you need still these fundamentals to be able to handle and deal with the tools in a good way. Of course, there are tools that say they take care of this as well, but and this will help a lot of people. But in the long run, to be the best of the best, and this is what you should be aiming for if you want to play the long game. You need to dive into there as well.
And would you say, because we've been testing as an agency with a lot of brands, we've been testing a lot of tools, and sometimes it works well, sometimes it works less well. So I get the feeling that it's not one answer fits all. It's more about, okay, in some cases, you've got factors which will make you successful, which could be like brand awareness, could be maturity of the market, could be where you are in your launch phase. When would you say is the best moment maybe for a brand to look into more automated approach, and more, when do you think it's better to have a manual approach?
Um, First of all, if you are able to, if you have just a small amount of brands or products that you can handle manually, I would strongly suggest to do this manually as long as possible, because this helps you to understand what's happening, and this helps you to, yeah, to become an expert on what's happening. And but from then on, you want to scale this, right? More products, maybe different brands or whatsoever, and then you want to automate and scale the right things, and you want to know how to do this. And actually, it depends on where you are and how complex your setting is. And as long as you can do this manually, you have just one or two products, and you know your 10 most important keywords and your main competitors, there is no need for automation. Maybe for optimization, this can always be done better by a machine than by human. That's my opinion. But automation is not always necessary, but it depends on the scale actually, yeah, of
Okay.
your, or the number of processes you want to automate. Yeah.
Great. So it's like I like the fact of saying it's like when anything you outsource to a machine or to an agency, it's always good to have the knowledge about
Yeah.
what's happening, so to really understand how it goes. And the best way is to get your hands dirty and do some of the campaigns yourselves. I had another question because you said you started with also Google advertising. It's like today, are you still doing a lot of Google advertising? And
Mhm.
because Google is much more advanced in search advertising, like they have much more history, they're much bigger than Amazon. Is there any learnings of how the Amazon, like the Amazon way of doing advertising may go? Like, is there on Google everything is automated already versus Amazon very everyone is manual? What's can you
Uh,
feel a trend there?
yes, what you could expect, normally what you would expect is that Amazon goes the same way, right? So automate the hell out of it and make it um, work for more and more people. But there are two things that yeah, stand in the way somehow, in my point of view. They will go this way, but not tomorrow. They're because of two factors. First thing, it's not them. Google's main business is advertising. Amazon, it's a huge opportunity, but it's not the main focus. They want to currently they want to just scale the amount of ad placements and all this stuff, and they're not there yet. They want to get the whole thing ready and build trust and that it works. And they don't want to provide a black box. That it's already an Amazon is black box already, but if there would be an advertising black box as well, then it gets more and more difficult to build trust and yeah, build trust in the market. So this is why I'm a little bit skeptical there. The second reason was I forgot it. Maybe it comes back in a minute.
Yeah. In terms of tools like providers like same similar as yours
Mhm.
AdFriends, is like do you have a lot of tools on the Google space also to automate bidding, or is it something which is specific to Amazon, like third-party tools to automate your campaigns, or already like the space is full of them on the Google area?
I don't think that I get this question right. Can you repeat
It's
it?
like today you have a lot of suppliers
Mhm.
or companies which offer you to automate or help you to automate your
Mhm.
campaigns on Amazon. So you plug your campaigns of your Amazon seller or vendor advertising account to that system, and it automates or helps you automate some of the campaigns.
Mhm.
Do you get the same thing on Google
Yeah.
with
Mhm.
third-party companies which are able to automate those campaigns? And is there some comparison today? Like today, AdFerence, can you plug it to your Google account also to
Mhm.
like automate also the campaigns on Google?
Mhm.
Is there
Yeah.
some what can you compare and what's different there?
Actually, it's pretty similar. But you have to go back in time to understand this. Amazon nowadays is like 10 years ago from in Google Ads. universe. We founded AdFriend 7 years ago, so we are still ahead of time. So when we developed our tool for Google, the market was already crowded. There were a lot of tools that did campaign management and all this stuff, bid management, keyword automation, everything that you see already evolving or emerging in the Amazon ads atmosphere. And at the same time, Google was offering some free services as well, and still do, like Google Ads editor and all this stuff. Yeah, what we did then there was we specialized in just one key aspect, and this is what I expect in Amazon as well. There are tools that evolve over time and become broader and broader, but they are not the best for every problem that you have. And I expect this in the Amazon atmosphere and as well. So this is why we focus specifically on advertising, but actually even on advertising, you can do so much stuff, and you always need a key focus. And so this is why I expect more and more specialized tools in Amazon advertising universe as well. Someone that will only because it's complex enough for reporting, or only on keyword automation, because there are so many edge cases, and so there will be so much demand on specific solutions that one just cannot fit. One tool cannot fit all. Right.
So it's like, if we could say that similar to Google, Amazon will grow in complexity probably with time,
sure.
And that it also makes a good point to have good tools to help manage that complexity.
Mm-hmm.
And to the point about complexity, I think one thing which is very interesting to the people listening is, okay, what are the new features of this year coming to Amazon advertising, and what do you feel is coming next? Like, do you have an idea, or what do you share?
Mm-hmm.
Can you share on that?
Mm-hmm. What I find very promising and very interesting is the whole sponsored display part, and there specifically the audience targeting. You can create custom audience and are able to do real remarketing on Amazon, and now for some days and weeks also off Amazon in Germany, for example. So that offers a lot of inventory for sellers, and you can create like great remarketing campaigns. So I'm very curious about this. I find this very, very interesting. Although one must say it's still very niche when it comes to the overall spending, right? So we have sponsored products with 70 to 80%, then sponsored brands 20 to 25, and sponsored display with 5 to maybe max 10% spending and revenue. But everything that's happening there is very interesting, and everybody that hasn't set up remarketing campaigns should do this because the earlier you tackle this, the better, because you get a first mover advantage there. And if we look further, what do I expect this year? It's a trend that's going on that Amazon is pushing more and more, or it's putting more and more functionalities from the DSP to the campaign manager or the advertising console, and this will continue, or we expect it to be continued. So that you will have more and more functionalities that will be put into the advertising console. For example, to do over the AOT, I don't forget the video.
Video on demand.
Video on demand, but where you can, do video advertising for Fire TV Stick and all this stuff. This will be, this is what I expect to be launched in the advertising console as well. This is now, only DSP stuff, but this will be opened, and so in general, video will be more and more important, and we've seen this last year with the release in Europe. How everybody is excited about the results, and this will become more and more important, actually, visuals in general, right? Is actually what if I haven't focused on and specialized there and do a professional photo shooting and videos, I would that would be my number one investing in my yeah, from my point of view.
Yeah. So it's basically, for me, it looks like if you look at the advertising funnel, so Amazon is very good at the lower part of the funnel. So sponsored products, and you've got sponsored brands, then you've got sponsored display, which actually is probably overlapping a bit the retargeting
Mm-hmm.
of the DSP part. And then they're looking into Fire TV and all those completely at the top of the funnel and trying to challenge YouTube's, Google, and all of that, right? To add more services.
Yeah.
So, like today, were you able to see on those new like sponsored display? So targeting customers outside of Amazon on the Search Console. Did you have it already on some brands, some return on ad spend, or some like e-Comas numbers that you can share on without giving names? Did you get any?
With with respect to the off Amazon targeting, what we've seen is, I think it was released in Germany end of January. What we've seen is an increase of impressions overall. The performance was similar, actually. We expected a decrease or an increase in ACOS, but what we have seen so far is that it is not that much worse. It's slightly worse, at least what we've seen. But what's important to see or to mention is that because you have more reach, more impressions, more clicks, you spend more and you could run into budget limits, which is, you know, a poison for each campaign. So whether you decrease your bids or you open up your budget to get your campaigns right.
And if I see like when we're looking about targeting or retargeting from outside of Amazon, you could run already into okay, should I do my Google or Facebook campaigns versus my Amazon campaigns? What would be your insights today? Because typically this is starting really to go against like Google search or
Mhm.
even the Facebook campaigns.
Y-
What's your intake on that?
You mean in terms of the upper funnel, right? So what's the
Yes.
next thing? If I
Oh,
did, if I worked
yeah.
through the playbook, like sponsor product, sponsor brand, sponsor display, and now maybe DSP and what, or, or let's
Or even if
start.
you take only sponsored display versus
Yeah,
Google
okay.
Ads.
Actually, yeah, what's awesome is, you know, the launch of Amazon Attribution, where you can actually measure the effect of your external advertising stuff that you do and throw on your
Yeah.
product. So first of all, that's awesome, and you can just try it out, which channel is the best. And um, I would go with all Amazon related inventory as much as possible until you cannot invest anymore, because it's not um, the performance isn't good enough anymore. And then I would start looking at additional traffic like Google search traffic or Facebook or whatsoever. But I will play the whole Amazon inventory till it's to the end, until I'm not able to get any more, or it's just unprofitable for me. And then I would open up, because it adds so much complexity. Like, okay, if you're not into Google search, you have to look up, become an expert there. Amazon attribution, you have to configure this, and in the end, you're in the whole Amazon inventory. Yeah, you're pretty close to. Although we are upper funnel on IMDb and other stuff, but you're still pretty close, right, to the Amazon
And
universe.
so you say, okay, you focus on Amazon because of the complexity of adding a
Yeah,
new
for example,
thing.
yeah,
Let's say if the people you have to they like a customer brand has got two teams or an agency or two agency, whatever, and they know both.
yeah.
And they need to take like decisions. Do you
Mm-hmm.
have like insights or examples of you've seen, okay, typically it works much better on Amazon or then it's a mix or like what's your insights or and what would be the factors pushing in one way or the other?
Actually, the main factor is that you have to measure the success, and and of course, you can become very profitable with external traffic from Google, from Facebook, even before you played the whole Amazon inventory game. But yeah, that's so. It's you can do a mix of both very pretty early in the stage, but yeah, if everything else is equal, then of course you can do and try this out in a very early stage already. But because the question is how much traffic actually you can buy that is profitable, and this is there you are just limited, and yeah, so this is something that you cannot expect miracles there.
Yeah, makes sense. One of the questions we've stumbled upon when discussing with customers is like some customers when they're looking at Google, for example,
Mm-hmm.
or like any retargeting exercise, they would say, okay, should I send it to my Amazon page or should I send it to my own page, right? So they would say, yeah, when I'm sending it to my own page, I don't pay FBA fees, so I prefer it's I like my profit is higher. But then like an Amazon agency would say, yeah, but you will improve your bestseller ranking if you send it to Amazon. So my take is that it's a conversion rate kind of comparison, and that in general conversion rate on Amazon will be higher than on the own website. Do you have any insights on that about yeah,
Yes.
differences on conversion rate
Yeah,
or like insights?
absolutely. Actually, if I knew that you would ask this, I would have prepared these numbers because 1 or 2 years ago we did an analysis of the same products and the same niche, and because we had a customer on Google as well on Amazon, and looking at the same search terms and compared the CPCs as well as the conversion rates. And the CPC was, oh, I don't know anymore, but much higher on Google. No, actually I don't know, but the conversion rate was much higher on Amazon. So this is why you could invest more, but the average order value was, for example, lower on Amazon. Um, that's you have to keep in mind. And of course, you don't get any data or just limited data. So you have to keep that in mind as well. And maybe if I find this.
And so the conclusion was that it was more profitable to go into Amazon or into their own website, or it was not, it was more complex than that.
It's a little bit more complex than that, because you manage your customers on a customer lifetime value in
Okay.
your
Yeah.
on your own website, and that's very difficult on Amazon, right? So
Okay.
so there
We'll
was no
we'll
final decision there.
yeah. We'll find it after. If you don't find it now, it's okay.
Yes,
We'll just
yes.
give a summary in the follow-up email.
Okay.
If you don't find it, there's another. Once you look into it, there's another question I was wanting to ask, which is about attribution. For me, it's a bit unclear if the attribution is working for everything and in every market of Amazon, or is it only in Germany? Do you know a bit about that? Is it
Oh
like
no.
any campaigns, like any campaign you're doing from Google or Facebook or anywhere, sending to your pages? Like, do you have any limitations? Or you can put any type of campaign or any
Yes.
like incoming traffic.
Yeah, sure. Any it doesn't matter. So works with standard tagging, and what you have to apply for this, you will have to say, I want to do this, and I think you can self-service already, so you can just go. I don't have the URL, but just look it up, and you can apply for this, and you get access to this, and it's not no
Okay.
limitation.
And it can be for any type of campaign, or is it linked to your brand store or something? Where does it fit
From
into?
my understanding, there's no limitation.
Okay,
So
okay. And
what I've seen.
probably, yeah, there's probably not all open to all of the countries in Europe yet. It certainly is in Germany. right?
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
probably in the UK also. The other countries we probably have to check.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I get this. I find this.
Well done.
I find this. Okay, okay, let's get this. So, uh, um,
That's what we call being organized.
yes. So we had 2 times more traffic on Amazon and 70% higher conversion rate on Amazon. And even 65% lower CPC. So everything, shouts like, go to Amazon, right? But actually the average order value was 55% lower.
Lower.
So actually you have to keep this in mind as
Is
well. And
that
yeah.
because the prices were lower on Amazon, or
No, 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 no.
because the basket, it's a basket value. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the basket value was in this case the problem. And why could it still make sense to actually send traffic to your own page, because you optimize, you have the customer data and you can do optimizations
Yeah.
based on your customer lifetime value then, and send emails and the stuff.
And was it done on a well-known brand, or like was
Yes,
it? Yeah.
there's a
Okay.
lot of traffic, fashion stuff. So
Okay. So okay. Probably the numbers would reduce with a well-known brand. Like the conversion rate would be
yeah,
probably even higher on
yeah,
Amazon versus the other website.
yeah,
Okay. I think that makes a lot of sense. Thanks a lot for sharing that. That I think
sure.
is a lot of information. So if anybody's got questions, this is now the time to go over it, about attribution, about campaigns, Google versus Amazon, and the different things. I'll go on with, do you know about anything which is in the US today, which they are already doing an experiment on, which might come to Europe in the coming months? Like you said about the Fire TV and like
Mhm.
all the video part, is there
Yes.
other stuffs you know about which?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I would have said custom audience stuff on sponsored display, but it's already arrived in Europe as well. That's awesome.
Can you
Um,
give us a bit
uh,
of what is customer audience in?
c-
What and
c- what it
what the
is?
benefits are? Yeah, what
Yeah.
and
So
what it means.
first of all, actually, it's not that custom right now, but it's. I think they will add more and more value to this. So what you can do actually in your sponsored display campaigns is that you can create an audience list of people that have visited a product detail page of specific categories, brands, your own products, and you can retarget them. So actually, show them your products. So, and this is what custom audiences mean. And currently, it's I think pretty. It's more or less only this categories, product stuff, and you can not play around with the cookie runtime. So the users or customers must have been on your product in the last 30 days, and you cannot customize this. I expect this to be more flexible in the future, but it's a good start. And yeah, this was of course first released in US, and but actually they were pretty fast with this for Europe as well. Another small thing that was just discovered was suggestion for sponsor brands headlines or titles that you can create, which we only have seen so far in the US accounts and not in European accounts. So what it does is actually, if you create a campaign, sponsor brands campaign, your become or you there will be suggestions of a good ad copy, right? A good title
Okay.
that you can choose from or use as inspiration. And actually, this is helpful. And I hope from an advertiser or a tool provider perspective that they will make this available through for API. So actually, but then you can just scale the hell out of sponsor brands campaigns, right?
And you
Because
could do A/B
yeah,
testing with that? you think, or like with different
No.
titles, or
Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah. Then if you can scale this, yes, yeah, maybe you can build your own A/B testing. Yeah, sad that this is not arrived so far on Amazon natively, but
okay.
yeah.
We have a question here. I am just launching my successful Amazon brand in Pen EU. Should I approach advertising in one market, only Germany, or
Mhm.
split my budget across different marketplaces? Is there a budget split that's a good norm when beginning?
Yes,
Great question.
a great question. I would highly recommend to focus on one marketplace at the beginning. This means it's not only advertising, but get your product listing as good as possible. It's not just let Amazon translate it and you're online and you're fine with it. I put much more love and effort in a good listing, maybe in Germany, maybe in UK or whatever. It doesn't matter. But to pick one that has the most potential, and then get this ready, make this good, and yeah, and be as good as possible there with advertising as well. And then you put more effort and love into your next um, country, right? So it's easy. Amazon makes it very very easy to create or to launch your products onto different markets, but actually it's not working very well. So you have to manually check this, give love to your detail pages and all this stuff. So this is why I would focus on one first.
Yeah, I totally agree with Florian. Is our advice is also try to be strong in one and then go. And that's true for content. That's true for many things. Like be successful one by one. Because specifically the European market is becoming very big and
And
therefore,
competitive. Yeah,
yeah.
maybe 3 years ago this could be a good strategy, but nowadays the competition is just too strong. That yeah.
I have another question. How do you best manage advertising for different languages from one marketplace? Example, Spanish in USA or Turkish in Germany.
What does it mean actually? I don't get the
So I think it's the idea is that if you have a strong second language in a country like Spanish in the United
ah.
States, like a second language, or English in Germany or Turkish in Germany, like
Yes. Oh, that's a
second
good question.
languages.
I never thought about this actually. So maybe you can help, Jerome.
Well, typically is on keywords, back in keywords, for example, we always recommend, especially in Germany, we know that I think nearly half or one third of the back end keywords are in English in Germany because a lot of foreigners go to Amazon Germany more than on the others. So like now on the advertising, there's not much you can really change. It's only sponsored brands where the title can be changed. So you could do some A/B testing
Mhm,
and like if a product is specifically to an audience, then I would try. Like specifically in the United States, I'm sure that if you have some things in Spanish, it would probably be very uh, probably have a good conversion rate. But that's out for testing, I would say.
mhm, mhm.
That would
Yeah.
be my. Um, but thanks for the great question. Another question: when promoting a brand through both Google and Amazon advertising, what kind of best practices would you recommend to have the best possible synergy between the two? Brackets, let's imagine it's a small brand and most of its products have been launched only recently.
Um, Actually, you won't get any brand related traffic on Google as well as on Amazon. So, what I would highly recommend is to be very specific with the traffic that you buy on Google, for example. I would be as specific as possible and um, test this on a very small level before I open this, right? And to put more and more keywords and traffic. First of all, I would make sure that it actually works, that in the best possible fit for your main keyword, if this works and you are able to forward this successfully to Amazon and have good performance there, then you can scale this and be more aggressive in your biddings there and add more and more keywords. But I would always recommend to start on a very little scale. Actually, this is true for Amazon as well. If you have limited budget, start very specific. If you have more budget and you want to be very successful in a very short period of time, then of course you should do more or less a big bang, right? And invest more in auto campaigns and all stuff.
Yeah. Basically, is that when you have a small budget, is don't divide it too much, huh? Right.
Sorry?
We would. It's basically when you have a small budget, maybe don't divide it too much.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So we have another question is how do you track your Amazon sales from your Facebook and Google Ads campaign? That's attribution, right?
Yeah, that's Amazon attribution. Actually, I think, Jerome, you can send this in the email.
We'll send the link. Yeah. So basically, you have what's called Amazon attribution, and that's something you have to sign on, right, Florian? And then you'll be able to link your campaigns to the system, and the system will be able to tell you how much traffic is coming from them and how much you've been selling and your conversion rate from the third-party traffic. We've got a question also from Antonio. It's for a seller just starting on Amazon. Would you employ different advertising strategies depending on the budget? If so, what would you advise for a humble budget company and what for a company willing to spend as much as needed?
So actually, there is a lot of stuff in the question. When you just started on Amazon and started with your launching a new product, there you have a total different strategy, or you should have a total different strategy in place than at the middle or end of your product life cycle. At the beginning of the life cycle, you want to get the first sales on your product, get first reviews, and actually we call this the no ACOS phase because it's you're not 100% performance driven in terms of revenue return, but you want to gain more from reviews. You want to optimize your listings depending on the search terms that you get out of the reports, for example, and you work on your listing as well. And yeah, regarding the budget, you can be very specific and maybe you will have a good ACOS at the beginning, but you maybe miss a lot of opportunities because you don't know what the people are looking for when they maybe look for your product. You did a keyword research and come up with 20 perfect keywords, but maybe there are 80 and you miss them if you don't combine this with auto campaigns and invest something in exploration phase, for example. So this is why I'm no fan of some people that celebrate themselves in social media said, I did a product launch and look at my ACOS, it's 10% all the time. And I always ask myself, well, what are the opportunities that you missed, right? So depending on this, on your strategy, on your budget, you can be very aggressive from the start, positively influence your organic ranking, bestseller badge and all this stuff.
There's multiple aspects, and that's the good thing of having a specialist or like a PPC expert discusses that. There's not only about, if you look only to your ACOS, the metric on its own doesn't mean much. You need to look at it into the dynamic of your brand, of where you are going and where you want to go. So this is probably the last question. So if anybody's got another one, just squeeze it in and we'll wrap it up. But what kind someone who's forgotten some of the words. What kind of advertising tasks would you recommend to automate, and which ones would you recommend to carry on manually when possible?
I would automate everything that is just more or less handwork, right? Okay, excluding keywords, negative keywords, forward keywords from one ad group to another, forward stuff from auto campaigns to manual campaigns. You don't need to do this. This can do a machine as well. You don't need it. This machine can be stupid. It just needs to do specific things. You don't want to do this manually. And what I would also recommend is to don't, if you have a lot of keywords, products in place, I would actually say, okay, do the bid calculation. It's not by yourself. You can do the bid calculation, but actually, I'm biased here, but I would say there's so much data around that you didn't get and catch and understand that has influence on the bid level. If you need to increase or decrease it, I would say you need to not automate, but to let it be optimized by another by a machine. What I wouldn't automate is actually the stuff that is building. It's all around strategies and setting the right goals, right? You don't want a fully autopilot that says, okay, make my product profitable and go on. You need to be in charge. Have to know your numbers, do the calculation, and know, okay, what is my target ACOS? How much can I invest? So this is stuff that you don't want to outsource. This is actually critical for your overall calculation, and this is something that I will always want to be in charge.
Yeah. And for me, it sounds like as Amazon is growing and the complexity is growing, and that's probably the learning of today, is like it will become more and more complex, more and more time consuming. So you need to have a good understanding, yet on and once you have that, is give a lot of the simple tasks the automation tools, and then remain in control of it and not being overwhelmed. So this is a very last question before we let you go, Florian, to your other meetings. I know you have a bit of a deadline. So how do you, and that's a general question, how do you find the best keywords for your products?
We can talk about this for a very long time. There are tools for, you need to know actually what people look for when they want to see your product. You need to be in the mind of the customers and, okay, what would you come up with? So, and actually this is the key point here. And you are not able to come up with all this stuff by yourself, or even third-party tools won't help you. So I would suggest you do this, of course, use third-party tools for keyword research, and also have a look at maybe, you can also have a look at Amazon's own search term report, where they say which ones are the most popular in the last week and all the stuff. There's a lot of data available, but I would also recommend that you look at your advertising reports and look, okay, what searches do the people actually execute when they come to my product and buy the product? And this data tells you, and this search terms tells you, okay, if you need to improve your listing because you haven't incorporated this in your listing, or if there is maybe some nuggets that you can find, okay, this core of this search term is actually a very good keyword that I could integrate in my manual bidding strategy. So, but very short question answer.
Thanks a lot for Florian.
Sure.
Thanks a lot for all those insights. So I recommend everyone have to look to Adference and links to Florian's LinkedIn profile, because there's a wealth of information he shares all the time. Thanks a lot, everyone, for your questions. That will be all for now, and we'll see each other in 2 weeks for a new webinar. Thanks a lot, everyone, and have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jerome. Bye.